Hi there, it's Ricky from Moshville Times here once again. This time I'm delighted to welcome Dundee-based band Solar Suns. Now, Solar Suns play progressive, heavy metal. They've got a wee bit of Mastadon, a wee bit of, to be honest with you, they've got a wee bit of everything. But I'm delighted to welcome the bassist vocalist Rory. I've also got the drummer Pete, and I've also got the guitarist Danny. So how are you guys doing? How have you been since lockdown and everything like that? Everything been okay? Like your jobs have been fine and your family and friends are okay?
Jobs have been secure, which is good. Yeah. We've all been on furlough pretty much since the start of it, which is nice, I guess. But a bit boring.
It's got its ups and downs, and we've been lucky to maintain most of what we had before the start of all this. So we're grateful for that, and we've had a good bit of time off from actual day-to-day work that we were having to do on top of everything before. So yeah, we've been able to focus on a few extra wee things here and there with the band, which has always been nice. So yeah, it's been not too bad, but we're it's been a tough time at the same time, and we're totally, we're raring to get back into real life again.
Yeah, well, certainly after the announcements today, there's the lights at the end of the tunnel. Everybody's feeling a lot more optimistic about things.
Absolutely.
Listen, we're not here to talk about politics and stuff like that. We're here to talk about Solar Suns.
Yeah.
So with the lockdown then, and with your last album, Subliminal Criminal, see, you guys done that to me on purpose, giving it an album title like that. You released
go Subcrims for sure.
Subcrims,
That'll do me. So it was released in 2019, but I've also been hearing rumours that you guys are pretty much ready to release a new album.
Right, we are. It's all ready to go. Yeah.
I can already see the smiles in your faces. It's like
I know. It's not even a rumor anymore. It's actually been announced. With just the other day. We just announced it on the weekend. So yeah, we're dead happy to be at that point, to be going, it's happening for real here as well. So yeah.
So how many songs has it got? Because I noticed that you guys don't write like 3-minute songs, like verse, chorus, end, guitar solo, end. You like your 5, 6, 7-minute songs. So is it still pretty much in the same vein?
Yeah,
it definitely is for the most part. Yeah, for sure.
On average, they're probably a little bit shorter, but only by a little bit. They're still probably about 5-minute average.
There's a few 5 minutes, and there's a couple of shorter ones.
A couple of shorter ones and a couple of longer ones.
Yeah.
The longest one's 7 minutes.
Yeah, so
they're not
7, 8 minutes.
We ended up with like 10 songs in total that we were super happy with.
Yeah, there's 10
on the
tracks.
Album. Yeah.
Two instrumentals as well, which is the first time we've done that.
Yeah. There's a few different little things in there. So.
Oh, was that Danny getting his guitar out again and just going up?
They're like, oh God, like, just let him have it. This one, that's fine.
So how were you guys able to communicate your ideas to each other? Were you lucky enough to meet up, or has it pretty much been the late summer since you've been together again, or how's it all panned out?
Yeah, well, since getting back together in late summer, we during the initial lockdown, just before it sort of all happened, Pete went and stayed with his folks for what he thought was going to be, as it was initially sort of said, a few weeks, and 3 months later, he's coming back to Dundee going, blimey, I didn't expect that to be 3 months. So where a lot of the ideas happened from was from that initial period of being apart from each other.
The songs were all written over that first 3 months of the initial lockdown.
We all had a bit more time because we weren't in our day job. So we were like, there we go. Here's something we can get up to. We've got so many ideas and riffs and things in the song bank to work on. So we just go right to work, and it was just like boom. And before we knew it, we had a bunch of stuff down on tape sounding really good.
Did I hear you right in saying that this album's got 10 songs on it?
10 songs, yeah.
Yeah.
Was your last album, am I right in saying like 7?
I think it was 8. I think it was 8 on the last one. Yeah, it was 8 on the last one.
I was just wondering, like, did you ever think of maybe having like an 8-song album, maybe keeping a couple of songs for like an EP in a few months' time or anything like that, or do you prefer releasing albums?
Yeah, we've definitely had the thought of releasing EPs and stuff before.
Yeah, a lot of the time what'll happen is we'll think we'll be doing an EP, but then by the time we get around to recording the EP, we've got 2 or 3 other songs, and then you're sort of thinking, well, we might just do another couple, and then it's an album.
Well, it's an album here, guys, isn't it? Yeah.
So Rory is like Danny, the guy that would send a riff at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's usually a bit more sort of sociable hours, to be honest. But
9 to 5.
9 to 5.
This is the work time.
I think they're usually recorded quite late. We usually work quite late, and then during the mornings and the afternoons we were sending each other ideas, and a few days would pass and we'd get a file back with some guitars or some bass or some drums on it.
Yeah.
And that's how the song sort of built up in that initial stage back in, what would it be, April last year?
Yeah, back in April, yeah. It was really exciting.
Cool. So obviously this is like your 4th album then. So for those that might be new to the band then, how would you say it compares to your early material? And do you think you found the sound that you've been looking for? Am I allowed to say the album title? I can say this one.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Chameleon, I can say that one. So how would you say Chameleon compares to your older material?
I guess, yeah, it's got newer stuff in there that we've not done before. There's some fresh sort of approaches and style sort of choices, I guess, in there for people that like our stuff to enjoy. But hopefully, it's like
it came out a bit more. I don't know if freely is the right word, but that album didn't go about writing an album. We just initially it just started as us sending some ideas to each other, to sort of have a bit of fun with.
Yeah.
So there wasn't that sort of there would have been an elimination process with any of the tracks. We think they're all good tracks, but it was a bit different in that regard. You know, it was like it just sort of became an album.
Yeah, it wasn't like
what we were sending each other.
Yeah, it wasn't like months worth of jamming and then we're like, these are the tracks.
These are the tracks for the album. They were just the tracks that we sort of had.
Yeah.
That time.
From that time, it kept sort of spurring on the next thing, and then the next one, and then I've had an idea. Here we go. I'll send this along, and then before we knew it, we had about 8-9 pieces of music that were all, basically just good to go. But apart from developing the lyric side and the vocal side, that all came a bit later. But yeah. So it's pretty cool.
So it sounds like you've got a well-oiled machine there. It's not like you're relying on one guy to write the foundations of the album. It sounds as if you all pull together and all focus on the same.
For sure,
yeah, I would say so. I think we all contribute quite evenly, and it's nice to bounce ideas off each other and have that feedback and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
we've been playing together long enough that it's easy to kind of like gel things together. You kind of know where each other's going with their ideas.
Yeah. Did
all the time. Sometimes it's a bit like, what the hell are you playing there? And you have to sit and sort of ask them and strip it back a bit. But most of the time, it's
some of the technical songs you have to kind of sit through and work out what time signature it is and stuff. But then other times it's a totally different process for another song. So it's like we've all worked together like that for years, and that's pretty much how we work. Just constantly bouncing ideas off each other.
Totally.
I can't
fun with it as well.
I can't believe a drummer is actually bringing stuff to the table. You know what I mean? Usually they're
I've struck lucky here. That.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. We have as well.
So also with the lockdown then, and with the unfortunate situation in relation to your work, has it made you focus on the band and the more business side of the band then? Like keeping your name Solar Sons out there for the punters to know about? Have you been, have you 100%. Marketing and all the rest of it? What have you been up to?
Yeah, no, completely.
It's the first time we've been in the position where, because we've always been, I guess, not organised enough through everything else been happening, just like normal life with work and gigs and all that.
Yeah, when you're working, gigging, life, everything else on top of each other.
So this time, because we've not had that, it's the first time we're sitting with like a finished product with stuff ordered, and we've got like 5 weeks before
a month to go before it's out, and we can contact people and
nice
share and stuff. So yeah, we've wanted to do this before like this, but we've always it's just caught up with itself, and we're like, oh blimey, it's release time, and so we're grateful for that time that we've had to hone in on that, and that's something we've definitely tried to
capitalise on, try and get it out there as much as we can before it's released, so get some reviews and all that.
Definitely, because folk are hopefully still like, you know, wanting to hear new music and stuff, and it's a tough time for everyone, and we can all relate to that and feel like, you know, there's still good stuff going on out there that we can look forward to seeing in person and still enjoy, you know, through the internet, I guess, and however else, or on a CD or something, you know.
Yeah. I also like keeping it fresh. Did you ever think about doing like a streaming event, like just where you are just now, like a gig or something like that? Just like having a gig in your rehearsal space or anything, or?
It's certainly something we're wanting to look into more. We've done a bit of live, not live, but like jamming, you know, just in our studio, and we'll record it, like, you know, not too like fancy in detail, but with a half decent little stereo mic and the camera, and sync up the footage, and they're quite good for just like keeping
jam videos,
keeping active online and showing folk a bit of what we've been up to in the studio. So we definitely want to look into that more and be able to do that at like a live set. Live
would be quite cool.
Live set,
live stream set.
It sounded really good. You know, you could get all the audio coming in right and stuff like that, and sounding well. So yeah, it'd be a bit of setup, and we've got the means to look into doing that. So we'll hopefully be doing more things like that.
Yeah. No, I would certainly watch it. I would certainly look forward to seeing it. But again, I'm going back to like how prolific songwriters that you are, because I think this is your 4th album in 5 years. Is that right? So
5.5 years.
That's right. Yeah, no, just over 5 years. Yeah.
So is it a case of like you're just you can't sit still, you've got to learn the guitar and play the guitar, or is it a case of that there's absolutely nothing to do in Dundee at all?
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's like we just sit going, what else? What's better to do than just play a riff, you know? No, there's a lot of things going on. Dundee's a good place, and we love living here, and have done the whole time we've been here. But it's
because we're all contributing to the songwriting process as well. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
just sort of banked that we can go to.
Yeah, we've got a big bank of stuff that we're still to work on.
So how is Dundee as a whole? Like, are the venues and everything like that okay? Because of what's been happening?
They're okay, yeah, I guess.
There's a few that have closed. Clark's is closed. This one that's been here for years.
Yeah, that's an institution in Dundee for sure, and that's gone down. Yeah.
It wasn't really one of our regulars, but it was there was live music on there all the time.
Yeah.
I think there's a few others that are like that. I don't really know, to be honest, what's happened with the likes of like the church and stuff. I would have thought they're still open.
Yeah.
Be open again.
And will open again. Yeah, but it's kind of just a waiting game just now to see what everyone's position is going to be when all this kind of.
Well, my Facebook is getting loaded up with gigs again, so hopefully it won't be too long now. But it must be frustrating for you guys as well, because you're right smack in the middle of Scotland. So when bands tour, they go to Glasgow or Edinburgh. Very rarely do they even go to like Aberdeen. But they never really play Dundee. But so there must be like a good scene in Dundee as well, with a good number of bands.
There is a good scene in Dundee.
Yeah. There's some great bands here. We've played with loads of great local bands that we've become friends with, and regularly sort of put on shows together and stuff like that. So there is a nice sort of rock and metal community here, and I guess Dundee's sort of known for its indie side as well, and that's a big scene here too. But it's like, you know, we've had gigs where we've played with indie bands, and everyone gets along. It's quite cool, you know. I mean, obviously, like the scenes don't mash like that much, but when we've put on shows that it's like, you know, like a rock show or a metal show, it's usually, you know, you get a lot of familiar faces down, and it's a great catch up and stuff, and there's a pretty good scene, pretty healthy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you down in Glasgow pretty much soon as well. So look forward to seeing you on the live front, definitely.
Absolutely.
So we touched a wee bit about it. Do you have plans to release a video to coincide with the album, or again, is COVID putting that to bed in the meantime? Have you thought about a lyric video or something?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a video.
Yeah, we can give you first dibs on that for sure. Yeah.
Have I got an exclusive? Have I got it?
Yeah, we were just discussing it tonight actually before we got this chat sorted out. So we're going to plan to do a video, because it's a big part of releasing an album, and I think it goes hand in hand with it, and it's, you know, we've got the means to do it here, so
it's good fun to do as well.
Good fun to do.
Everyone likes a music video.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sweet. I take it you've got the track already chosen.
We do. We've got the track chosen. We've got the sort of ideas sort of penned out what we're going to do for it, and we've done stuff in here before where we filmed ourselves for music videos and stuff like that. So we've got a bit of experience in there to put it together and that. So yeah, we've got a wee plan for them. So that'll be out, you know, within the next month, probably before the album comes out.
So I fully expect a lot of carry on in this video then.
Hopefully we'll be. We can piece that in somehow.
So, Rory, with you being the vocalist of the band then, do you take care of all the lyrics for Chameleon, or did the other guys step up to the plate as well and contribute, or do you just prefer your own?
No, the lyric writing's very similar to the songwriting in general. It's sort of like a joint effort with a lot of it. Sometimes somebody will come up with a theme for a song. We usually listen to the songs first, sort of get some ideas based on what the songs are making us feel like, and then jot some ideas down. And it's usually a joint effort. Sometimes somebody will maybe start something, get a verse or a chorus written, and then get lost and have to get some help from the teams in.
Rory's a pretty prolific lyric writer, and probably the most prolific within the band, and primary lyric writer, I would say. And Pete and I do contribute and will help him with bits and pieces here and there, and we'll come with ideas, and we'll sit down together and have group writing sessions as well. We did that quite a lot for the new album, actually. So it's quite fun to do that and change it up a little bit, and you know, you find an old piece of paper, you're like, oh, that's quite cool. Give that to Rory.
So have the lyrical themes stayed the same, or have they changed with this record?
They've stayed the same. There's a couple of current themes. There's we usually chuck in a kind of classic metal epic theme about some sort of mad warrior or something. There's one of them in it. There's one about an alien in it, and there's one. You know, there's a few usual ones, but yeah, it's
there's a few cool, like, it's not really a concept album. It's more of just an album full of tunes that have got their own sort of concepts, and there's a few different, like, one of the big chuggy songs towards the end of the album, The Wolf, is inspired by, you know, a famous Scottish story of the Wolf of Badenoch. I'm sure you've possibly heard of him. You know, he's a well-known sort of figure, and how his demise sort of happened. It's not like glorifying his life, because he was a pretty mean dude, but it's like he had a sort of...
Yeah, we grew up in Elgin, so obviously it was the Elgin Cathedral that he demolished. So it was a story that we'd always kind of heard growing up and that. So we do a song about that.
Thought we'd put that in a song. So we do like to use sort of fun title and themes to sort of write lyrics around.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's absolutely, I'm really looking forward to hearing this. So, was there anything that you've done differently between the recording of Subcrim and Chameleon?
Subcrims was a live recording. It was the first time we'd done like a full live one without a metronome. We were kind of working up to that from like the first album we did in here, but with a tempo track. Second album we did at Dundee Music Studios with a tempo track, and then the third album we did in here with the guitar cabinets and stuff separated from the room. So it was just the drum cabinet, the drums getting recorded in here, and headphones, and just rehearsed them lots, and didn't use clicks, and it turned out really well. But
just standing looking at Pete, you know,
just standing staring at Pete,
chugging it. We had the amps separated and stuff out of the room, so it was a really cool vibe, and we all really enjoyed that recording style.
Yeah,
so.
But this one, because we were apart, it was done to a tempo track again.
Done to a click, and all sent together, and we sort of pieced it apart.
Yeah.
Multi-track.
It's the first kind of multi-track album we've done, I guess.
We've not done it like this before. So everything we've done, every album we've done, there's something a bit different about them. So this is the same. It's a bit different from what we've done before in the setup.
Yeah. Was there any kind of label interest? Was anybody like getting in contact with you, or do you prefer to release your albums independently? I know there's pros and cons for either way, but I was just wondering how you guys feel.
We've never really, to be honest, had an awful lot of interest.
We've had a few sort of people sort of asking here and there, and people getting in touch, but we've not really put ourselves out like that. And I guess because we've we've always self-released. Maybe folk go, oh, they've got their own thing going on there, so that's fine. But you know, if folk were wanting to work with us, we'd always be, you know, open to seeing what was available. You know, we're definitely would like to get our music out to a wider audience. You know, definitely.
Yeah, because I was comparing yourselves there to like Dog Tired. They've always released their albums independently, but they prefer it that way. You know, they prefer it. Oh, you were the top. I never even saw that.
Represented.
Riffs.
I interviewed them a few months ago as well. They're a top quality band, you know.
Yeah, they're an awesome band. We're really good pals with them, and we've known them a good few years on, played with them many times in around the scene and stuff, and they're just top lads and a great band. So yeah, we've taken props from that and their way of thinking as well, and going.
Yeah, you're saying they like to self-release as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Because they can see it. I think they take like a good few years between albums though, and they just got a pace that suits them itself. There's no pressure from anybody or the label, just do it to suit themselves. So I can see the pros and cons for it, you know.
Yeah. It can really work if you've got that sort of mindset that you'd like to get these things done at your own level and your own sort of the way you want it done, you know. But you know, you'll get there.
Yeah, a lot of the work that can be done, it's just somebody else doing it for you. It's just a case of actually doing it. That's the hard part, I guess, and knowing where to actually place your efforts is sometimes a bit tricky. Yeah.
Not to be said for like working with great producers and places and studios.
No, absolutely. I'm always up for working with folk for sure.
That's a massive part of being in a band as well, is collaborating with these places and people. So yeah,
it's all good experience.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. So with Chameleon, then, are you taking care of everything yourself, like the mixing and the mastering and the producing? Are you getting somebody to do that for you?
It's actually, it's the first time we've done pretty much start to finish all ourselves. You know, we've worked with great people in the past, and we've got an amazing studio in Dundee Music Studios that run by a great guy called Tristan Button, and his main sort of producer guy that works down there, Harris, is just a total local legend in Dundee. Just, you know, he sorts everyone out with what they need, and he's great at fixing stuff and an amazing engineer and stuff. So we've worked with him in everything that we've done, you know, and he's had a big part to play. So
yeah, it's the first time he's not had a hand in one of our albums. Yeah, it's just because of the circumstances.
And it's just literally the circumstances, you know, being what they are, and we were just like pushing on with wanting to.
Yeah, but it has been nice to kind of do it ourselves. And
definitely,
that's been a different sort of challenge, and be nice to see what folk think.
Yeah, we've picked up a load of things over the years, and we've always been interested in that sort of engineering side and recording yourself as well. So you know, we've got a few things that we've learned over the years that we can apply to it, and hopefully have done a good job. You know.
Yeah, cool. Thanks very much for that. So we kind of talked about this a wee bit earlier, but how are the songs constructed in the studio? Like, are the main songwriters to the songs, or Solar Sun's a band where all members contribute? We kind of did cover that, didn't we? Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, no, I think it is basically like we all sort of will present a riff or an idea or a few things together, but
there has been a few occasions where like yourself or myself will have like a start to finish piece, but even then it's just like I've got a bunch of riffs. I don't really know like what it's going to sound like once everyone else is involved, you know. So it's always,
and we all write sort of quite different stuff. You know, Pete plays drums and plays guitar as well. Showed us a few things over the years that we've put in, and Rory's always sort of had an interest in guitar as well as bass, and we love drums. So it's like we're always telling each other, oh, that might be cool to try out, you know. So it's like, you know, it's quite a nice process like that.
So are you a band that can interchange your instruments then? Oh, I fancy a shot on the drums tonight. You play the guitar.
that may happen.
Maybe good for like the really slow, easy interlude sections.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I was quite disappointed in your answer, because I was kind of expecting like fisticuffs in the studio and blood on the walls and all that kind of stuff. But
I know.
I don't think you've even had a member change, have you? I think you guys have been the band from the beginning.
That's right. Yeah. We're all we formed when we got the opportunity in 2014, and we were like, you know, talking about it, you know, as an opportunity. Rory and I had been in a couple of bands, and they were sort of seeing their natural evolution and stuff, and you know, but all these ideas had been, you know, churning off. We'd always been really still quite passionate about what we were wanting to do. And, you know, Pete came out of music uni and had just come out with a degree in drumming and knew all this technical stuff, but had the, you know, chops we knew from years growing up together. So it was total tasty. So we all were just like, yes, let's do it. And we're still here, like, happy, going, oh, what's the next tune going to be? So
good stuff. Yeah, I have to ask, this is a silly question of the day, but Rory and Danny, you guys aren't brothers, are you?
We are.
Yeah.
We are brothers.
We're our brothers. We're related. We're all related.
Pete's our cousin and we're related. So we've got the same mum.
So I was going to say, did you know each other before you got together as a band? Well, okay.
We sure did, yeah.
We did. We've been brothers our whole lives. So.
Very much.
Well, to be honest with you, anybody north of Glasgow kind of all look the same anyway. So, no, I knew that answer. Just playing.
No,
so, you released Subliminal Criminal. There we go. I'll say it.
Nice.
So you released it in December 2019. So, but like every other band releasing music at that time, it must be pissing off that you didn't get that much time to promote it in a live environment. So, what touring commitments did you have last year to promote it?
Well, the last gig we played was Hammer's album launch in, like, was that 13th of March last year?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we had a few other shows lined up for the rest of the year, but that was definitely going to be the kind of focus for that year, was book as many shows as we can and get as many gigs as we could, because the time before that, running up to the end of 2019, we'd obviously been working on the album and getting that all finished off. So 2020 was definitely going to be focused on gigging, but it's not happened. So we've just turned our focuses elsewhere and recorded some more music. But I think it was gutting. I think it's probably more gutting for folk that had like actual tours booked and all that sort of stuff.
We're just about to release something. Yeah, just you know, I'm kind of glad we were able to get our album out. You know, we didn't even really, no one was even talking about coronavirus in December 2019. No. So it's like, you know, literally 3 months later, the world was in lockdown. So it's like, it is kind of surreal, but it's like, yeah, we're chuffed we got it out, and it'll be nice to get those songs some airplay in the or some live play, some
stage time in
the future. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what that's what I was going to say, because it's coming closer to where we can play gigs again. But you've now got Chameleon to promote, so I'd imagine the majority of your set is going to be from Chameleon. So you might only play a couple of songs from Subliminal Criminal. It's a shame, because you haven't really given that album the justice that it deserves on a live front, you know?
Yeah, I think we'd maybe like half and half it, or 60-40 maybe.
Yeah. If we had a longer set and we were able to play, we'd definitely play a few. And there's a few from Subcrims that's like, you know, are songs that we played before that album was out that fans we'd always know we'd play, like Opeth, for example, or there'd be a couple of tunes that we'd always play live, you know. So it's like some of those songs have had a good amount of outings, you know, and I guess it's about half, but yeah, it'd be nice to play those songs and sort of, and hopefully the release of this album will generate a bit of interest more towards some of our older stuff as well, so people that haven't heard us before can go, oh, they've got some other albums I'll go and check out. And that'll be, you know, that'd be cool.
So with you releasing Chameleon, have you noticed a bigger like list of contacts for you to send your material to get reviewed and all the rest of it? Have you noticed a bigger fan base and a bigger reach?
We certainly have, actually. Yeah, I think it's maybe just because we're focused on it a bit more. We've just opened our eyes to it a wee bit more. But it's like, you know, we have done this before and put ourselves out there in that sense to speak to people like yourself and get, you know, get our music out there before it's out. But and we love doing it. It's a big part of it, and it's nice to sort of show our our sort of how we get the stuff together. So, but no, we've not done it to this level before. So we're hoping that it's going to help generate a bit more interest in the album coming out.
But it's also, like you said earlier on, you've had a lot more time to spend on the band now, on the business side of the band. So you've had a lot more time to establish your contacts and stuff like that. So
we have.
Well, good luck to you, man. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. That's good.
But looking with Subliminal Criminal, I'm going to keep on saying it now.
Once you get it, it's fine.
Yeah, it's quite easy, to be honest with you. And December 19, is there, looking back on it, is there anything that you've changed about it? Were you happy with the sound? Were you thinking there's a part of a song that's too long here? Or is there anything that you would look back on and say, I wish I had the opportunity to change that? Are you quite happy?
Maybe. I think there's always going to be that thing with being a musician where you're like hypercritical of yourself and you're going to listen to old stuff, and now and again you're going to be like, oh, I could have played that better. But at the same time, we're proud of like what we've done with the albums, and I think albums like they sort of like frame a little piece in time for your work up to that point.
Yeah.
And you know, you're always kind of developing, and I think you'd be a bit daft to look at a previous file and think, I'm 100% happy with that.
Absolutely.
I could never do anything more to that. You know, there's always going to be that room for a little bit more.
But we're proud of it in the same breath, though, and it's like we're happy with it. That we always are at the end of the day before we release things. You know, that's what we're aiming for, to get to a point where we're like, sweet, that's done.
Yeah.
You know, we can get that out, and hopefully folk will really enjoy it. And so yeah, it's like, I guess that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much, man. Yeah.
What I said earlier on about how the third album was done without a click, that was like a big thing for us, like getting to that point where we could do an album without a click, because the songs are, you know, there might be the odd kind of little change in them or something, or there might be different tempos going on and some more technical parts.
Yeah, super old school way of doing it. Yeah, just
getting through them in like a single take or a couple of takes is tricky, but so it was nice to be able to do that for album.
Totally, yeah.
And I think you can hear it. Like when you listen to the earlier stuff, you do hear that kind of that flow a bit more.
Free flow style in it, yeah, a bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you talk about old school, because I might be showing my age a wee bit here. But before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends. But now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that there's some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing for Solar Suns, for example?
What if the passion's been lost? It's maybe made it a bit more of like a swamp to kind of trench through. But
yeah, there's a lot of it's transferred over, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, sort of things that were, you know, we can remember reading as magazines that are now great platforms on the internet. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I guess that can make it a bit daunting to try and go, oh, who do I contact? Who do I say hello to?
Yeah, it's maybe made it a bit more difficult to know where to put your efforts and who to actually talk to. And
but it's also great. There's such a vast.
There's so much stuff out there, yeah, and it's easy to get your material out there now because technology means you can just like do it in your house, you know, and it's affordable and
absolutely.
You know, that's obviously not something that could have been done 30 years ago.
Unless you're Tom.
I mean, I've obviously got my CD deck behind me here, but way back in the early 90s and stuff like that, there was nothing better than sending a couple of pounds away, and a couple of days later you would get a cassette through the door and you would open up and wee stickers would fall out and all the rest of it. You get a letter from the band, and you would listen to the demo, and you go, I don't know if I like that, but because you've paid money for it, you would give it a good couple of listens and then you would make up your mind. But now you go into like streaming websites and you just press a button and you're like, nah, I don't know, that's pish. Go on to this band. So you dismiss a band within 10 seconds. You know, it's a double-edged sword. Like you said, you're able to reach. I mean, you're a band from Dundee, but I bet you've had letters from like Poland and stuff like that, contact from countries all over the world. You know, it's
got a lot of Europe folk that get in touch, and they're always great. It's awesome when you get someone that's found your music from far.
Yeah, like someone from Brazil's ordering a CD, and you're like, CDs off to Brazil.
But you know, we quite like that, like you were saying as well. Like we got one of those old school stamps that you get and like stickers and stuff. And when we send out a CD, we'll put a few little goodies.
Yeah, a couple of stickers in a badge and stamp it and stuff. And it's
like that experience when it arrives. You can tell before you've opened it what it is, but you're still excited and you know.
I mean, I grew up when it was like CD should be burned. You know, it was always tapes and vinyl. You know, but apparently vinyl's outsold CDs for the first time in like decades or something like that. You know?
It's amazing. We love listening to stuff on record and vinyl as well, and it's like we we'd love to get our music printed on that one of these days, but it's one of those things. It's quite a pricey sort of venture to get the music out there. So on vinyl. So I guess we could look into things like, you know, GoFundMe campaigns. I think if people really wanted to hear stuff, you know, on vinyl, format, you know, in a couple of years' time, we could look into that, and that might be a cool project.
Cool.
You have to master everything for vinyl, you know. It's got to have a separate master and stuff because it's getting put on grooves and stuff. So it's really cool and interesting. We love that side of music as well, in the old school.
Yeah, my last interview was actually with Dan Swano. He's the guy that does Unisound Records, but he's been in umpteen huge death metal bands and stuff like that since the late 80s. And it's absolutely frightening how different he can make your sound. And it's the minutest detail, you know, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
It is. It's insane how much focus you're putting on just the fine details, and then it's all bouncing down to just left and right in a stereo image, and it's just like, boom, there we go. Does it sound good? Yeah, right, cool, you did a good job. Not to oversimplify things, but yeah, no, that's
cool. Well, I've actually only got one more question, but it's probably the question that you'll give the longest answer to. So you're going to describe your make and model of instruments that you use for the recording of Chameleon then. So I may as well start off with you, Danny, because on you go.
Sorry, start first. So, I've been using my Gibson Les Paul for a few years now that I bought myself. And that's just an amazing instrument. I love it to bits, and it just performs. You know, it's a pretty cool, a bit different as well. It's got a maple neck on it, which is a bit different from a lot of other Gibson.
Do you have it beside you?
Sorry?
Do you have it beside you?
I don't actually. It's no, I don't. Sorry, I've got a 12 string over there. But that's my main guitar, and I used my Fender as well for quite a lot of stuff. So it's got the whammy bar and stuff like that, so you can get that and that twangy tone, but it's also got the humbuckers in there, so it's like you can get the heavy tone from it as well. So that's my two, Fender Strat and a Gibson Les Paul.
So what do you tune your guitar to?
I usually tune it to standard tuning, and we'll play in drop D quite often. And sometimes we've experimented with drop C, drop B, and we've also done some stuff in, like, you know, we'll like half step or even further, like Black Sabbath, like down the road, like 3 steps, and it's like everything's just like whoa, and it just sounds like amazing. But we've got some stuff in that tuning that we're looking forward to working out down the road. But yeah, we try and experiment with a few different tuning, but mostly standard tuning.
Yeah. Do you use any pedals?
I use quite a few. I've condensed it over the years because my back was breaking carrying a 6-foot long pedal board around Scotland. But I was I use my amplifier that I use is like a sort of high gain classic valve amp. It's a Laney Ironheart, and it provides both the clean and the sort of distorted tones that I'll get, and so I don't have any like distortion pedals. I just have an overdrive and a fuzz pedal, as well as a wah-wah pedal and a delay and a reverb, and that's basically it. It's quite a small. It's about 8 or 9 pedals nowadays on my board. So
you used to have a harmonizer and stuff on it.
Yeah, I still use a harmonizer for like getting that twin guitar sound and stuff like that on certain bits. It's quite good. I got a good one, that Digitech Harmony Man, that just, you know, it actually genuinely gives you that two guitar sound, and it's cool. It doesn't sound
for some effects here and there.
Yeah, for certain bits here and there. So yeah, effects are great, and I love them. And I went through that total journey, like being into gear so much that you're just like, oh, this next pedal. But yeah, it's nice to settle on a setup and be confident that it can get you the sounds you want.
Cool. So if you were to go on like a 6 or 7 day gig tour or whatever like that, what guitars would you take? The 2 guitars with you? A Fender?
Yeah, I reckon so. I'd take at least 2, and hopefully there you'd have one if one sort of broke. You could play, you know, I try and make it so I can play on either, even if it's like something that's a lot like a whammy bar stuff. I don't do that much of that sort of stuff anyway, but I'll still do it on a Gibson and be like okay, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? It's not like that's what the whole thing is. But
you should have saw the look that you got there. You don't use a lot of whammy. From the other guys there.
Sounds like you do. Sounds like you do, mate. Just sitting there like that all day. Why not? And there's quite a lot in this new album, actually.
But just a last question then, because it's something that does worry me on the live front, like a 3-piece with just one guitarist. Like, see when you play your solos, does it sound? Should it have like a backing guitarist, like a rhythm guitarist? Or I just worry about the sound that is too quiet, you know, with just the solo.
Yeah, it's something that we've worked on, you know, and having Rory as like such a powerful bass player, you know, he can kick on a bit of extra gain, and it thickens up that sound when I'm going out from a rhythm part into a lead part. That's quite often one of the wee tricks we'll utilize to boost up the sound, so the rhythm section is still pounding over a solo. So it's like Rory will just start digging in a bit more, and Pete's holding down the groove, you know, and it's just like it's sort of we've worked with that.
Reverb on the guitar helps as well, even though it's solo and it's helping fill that space up.
Totally. And it's often nice as well when you break it down into the slower parts and you've got all that sort of, you can wash it in quite nice. So yeah, it's challenging, and it has its, you know, challenge not having two guitarists, but yeah, try and do my best.
You certainly do, man. You certainly do. So Rory, what about your bass then? What do you use?
I've got a Fender Jazz Highway 1, and I've got a SWR bass head that I use, and some pedals.
4 or 5 string?
4 string.
4 string. Ah, see, that's the way you play bass. See all these basses that have got 5 and 6 strings? Nah, you're just showing off.
I did get a 5 string, but it made my head hurt a bit, so I just sort of put it in the cupboard and left it there. But there's a 5 string song on this song actually, but instead of using the 5 string, I just dropped the E string to a B and just didn't have the extra string there. But I think for live stuff you would play when you use a 5 string. But yeah, I've been playing 4 string for so long now that just that's what I like to play. Yeah.
And when you started the band, then did you just see yourself as just being a bassist? Or a vocalist, and you just kind of became a bassist vocalist by accident? Kind
of like that. Well, Danny mentioned earlier on that we'd been in a couple of bands before Pete had joined us. So in the first one of those bands, we'd had a singer. Yeah. And we sort of went our separate ways, and I did sort of become just singer by default, just because I gave it a real good go, and the guys were like, yeah, it sounds good. So it's just kind of gone from there. But I do enjoy it. I do see it as a sort of secondary thing to the bass, but I don't know if that's maybe just because I started with the bass and the singing came later or whatever. But I do enjoy it. Like, yeah, because the guys are both bass singers as well, so we all contribute to the singing. Pete's really good at coming up with different harmony lines, and it's got this kind of real dulcet, kind of high end voice, and Danny's got this big kind of billowing set of lungs and got nice. So we utilize. We'll utilise what we've all got for the vocals.
When Rory started singing properly, we were all just like, whoa, you know, he just had that sort of, you know, when folk can just sort of do something quite quickly, really quite well. It was like that sort of, we were all just like, wait, you're singing, you're doing it, you know what I mean?
What ideas have you got?
He was playing bass lines and singing melodies over them and stuff, and we were like, hey, how are you doing that? So yeah.
So what's it like then? Is it not quite like, not restrictive, but you look at Danny, for example, and he's running around the stage and stuff like that, but you can't because you have to stand right there in front of the mic and stuff.
Yeah, it does kind of catch you off guard sometimes. You'll turn around and be like rocking away with Pete for a bit, and then like the next bit comes in, and before you know you've got to sing, and you're running back over to the microphone and hitting yourself in the face with it. But it does happen sometimes. But
sounds like experience talking there. Yep.
Yeah.
But also with the vocals for the album then, have you went through like a number of microphones and you finally settled on one, or are you not really fussed about which microphone?
Live, I'm not too fussed, to be honest. As long as it sounds good, obviously, I'm not too fussed. When I'm recording, use a large diaphragm condenser mic. But sometimes even when we're recording, I'll just use like an SM57 or a 58 if we're just sort of like, if I'm sitting at the desk and I'm not set like a full booth up or whatever. And sometimes those can sound pretty good as well. I think it just, I don't know, I don't think you necessarily need to use a great mic for the vocals. I think it's probably more important for like guitars or whatever. Certainly for recording vocals, like on an album, maybe you want to use a really good mic. But I think for live stuff, I'm quite happy with whatever nasty old mics in the venue, like as long as it doesn't smell too bad.
That'll do. Smell test. Sniff test.
Well, listen, guys, thanks very much for the interview. Oh, sorry, Pete, I forgot about the drummer there, as most bands do.
So, he's like been waiting like
I'm not even going to tell you what I used.
He's been quiet, but I bet you this is him for the next half hour, I bet you. So,
let's go. Drum top coming up.
So the drum kit I use is a 6-piece Mapex maple birch shell set. So it's a Mapex Saturn 5 drum kit that I've had for a few years now. I use Sabian cymbals mostly, Iron Cobra pedals, Evans heads, and ProMark drumsticks. So that's pretty much my gear setup.
Double bass?
No double bass drums, but I do use double kick. Yeah, so you have to use. I like my double kick. Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I like my extreme stuff as well, and that's what does it for me. Is like the double kick. I love it.
It is difficult to do it. Yeah, you have to get a total technique with it over years. I can't play consistently like speed metal, speed drums, but I like using I can for like 5-second bursts.
So who are your influences then as a drummer?
I've got a few. My biggest influence, I suppose, drummers like Michael McBrain from Iron Maiden. He's just always been my hero. I just think he's such a cool dude and always one of my favorite drummers. But when I was at university, when I was studying, it was drummers like Steve Gadd, Dennis Chambers, Dave Beckel, a lot of famous studio drummers I was kind of learning off of.
Yeah.
So Neil Peart, obviously from Rush, it was a massive influence. A little bit about Portnoy, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
From Dream Theater, he's been a pretty big influence on me.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of drummers, but I kind of lean more towards the metal stuff. But I've been spending more time recently trying to work on proper technique and things like that I learned back at university. So I'm a blend of drummers.
I was just wondering, like, did you accidentally fall into being a metal drummer? Like, were you influenced earlier on, like with jazz drummers, for example, and you can still incorporate that style into your style of drumming, or? Yeah,
kind of. But I learned a few things when I was in just going through high school when I was picking up drums. But I had been playing in like metal bands.
Yeah. So
I kind of grew up a metalhead teen. So metal was always my kind of outlet on the drums.
Yeah.
So going into university, I was always kind of told I was just like I was quite good. So I thought I'd give it a bash, studying music. So I did like I went to Napier and I did like their popular music course there, specialized in percussion, worked with like 3 different tutors. And that was where more jazz stuff kind of came into it. And I had to learn how to be a actual drummer who could read music and do all the things that will get you hired in a studio. Do what you're told, basically. So I think coming out of university and joining the dudes was like, it just felt right.
Freedom for you, yeah.
It felt like I could just go back to my high school days and play metal, but it also meant I could express myself more because I had the tools to do it from just getting a degree. So yeah.
Who would have thought that drumming was actually quite technical sounding in the name of God?
I know it.
Yeah, he's the smart one in the matter. Totally, it's amazing.
But also with this album then, did you look at changing the snare sound? Is it quite difficult to get the sound of the snare that you want it to be, or?
I struggle a lot with snare stuff in general. I quite tuning it quite high.
Yeah.
I quite like hearing the definition of like your ghost notes. I think like really blends grooves together really well.
Yeah.
So I've tried to work hard on especially a good snare sound, because your snare's your foundation of your groove, isn't it?
I've had a couple. Yeah, you've had
a new one recently.
Cracking snares recently as well.
Yeah.
So he's always kind of on the lookout for a new sort of nice piece of equipment. So it's nice to see.
It's never a waste of money.
Cymbals or drums, or like got a hand hammered bronze snare a wee while ago. Was it bronze? Or
yeah,
was
the
it brass? Yeah, brass. That's right.
That's your metal snare. Like that's how you get that sound. Like
yeah.
I mean, like I say, again, I like my extreme stuff, but I hate the snare when it sounds just like a biscuit tin. I just hate the sound. Hate the sound. It immediately puts me off.
like that Saint Anger kind of sound where it's just like
ping, ping,
ping.
Yeah. It needs a bit of body in the snare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, I can say it's been a pleasure speaking to you like that. But so do you guys just want to give a wee selling of Chameleon then? When's it coming out? Where will we get it? Where will we find you on social media then?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, Ricky. It means a lot. Thanks for catching up with us, and we've had a great catch up with you this evening. So our new album Chameleon is out on the 16th of April 2021. So it's available on all the streaming sites. We'll get it up for a pre-save and all that sort of stuff soon.
And pre-sales are open now.
Pre-orders are open now. If you want a CD copy, it'll arrive on your door. Maybe even on the 15th. Who knows? So we'll we've ordered the CDs. We've ordered the CDs. They're on their way. They're looking amazing. So yeah, we can just get in touch with us, find our pre-order links, and we'll get you on the pre-order list. And you
keep your eye out for a video.
Yeah, there'll be a video coming, and it's jam-packed full of pretty awesome tunes, we think, that are just sort of a bit of everything in there. There's a lot of different stuff, and it's about the last year's sort of work we've put into this, getting to this point. So we're really excited to get it out there, and we hope everyone enjoys. So yeah, check it out.
I tell you what, I'm going to pre-order it, right? But you need to sign it for me.
All right, no problem. You got it. I'll do that.
Yeah, nice one. Huh?
Well, I'll get onto that later tonight then. But as I say, we'll certainly do a bit to promote it here in Moshville Times. I'm also involved in like podcast metal still out there. I've also got a friend who's got 2 radio stations, one in America and one in the UK. I'm getting involved in that as well. So we'll get together, and you can give me a song that you want to promote. It's usually better if we have a wee 4-minute song, not a 10-minute song. But you can certainly give me one to promote, and we'll certainly get the name of Solar Sons out there. So as I said, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you guys all the best with the album release. Okay, and I hope to see you.
Thanks, Ricky. Take care.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye.